We are going to finish reading My Sweet Audrina. We are on part 1, and the chapter is called Competition. The cemetery and the rocking chair had taught me their lessons. From now on, I'd be the kind of girl Papa had to have in order to gain wealth and live happily. I knew he believed his way was the best way, and I couldn't judge for myself the right and wrong in most situations. And I wanted Papa to love me more than that hateful first Audrina that I wished had never been born, just as I'm sure Vera wished that I'd never been born. They'll never be as wonderful as your dead sister, stated Vera so firmly that it seemed indeed she must have known her. She was trying to press Papa's shirt to show him she could, but she was only managing to ruin it. The iron kept sticking and left burned places shaped like an iron. Even the stem hose showed. The first Audrina could iron shirts like an expert, she said. And she was so neat with her hair. Your hair is always a windblown mess. Vera's hair wasn't exactly terrific looking either. The way it fell down into her face in wispy strings, the sun through the window shone through her apricot hair and turned it gold on the ends and red near her scalp. Sun hair. Fire hair. I can't understand why they named someone as stupid as you after such a brilliant girl. You can't do anything right, she went on. What fools parents can be. Just because you happen to have her coloring, they thought you'd have to have her brains and personality too. And you aren't nearly as pretty, and you're moody and dreary to be around. She turned down the heat on the iron, but it was already too late. Worry puckered her brow as she studied the burn marks and tried to figure out what to do. Mom, she called, if I burned Papa's shirt, what would I do? What should I do? Run for the woods, called back my aunt, who was glued to her TV set, which was showing an old movie. Stupid, Vera said to me. Go ask your mother what can be done to take the scorched place on Papa's shirt out. I'm too stupid to know what you mean, I said, still stirring my cereal around. Sure that Papa would put me in that rocking chair again tonight, as he'd been doing 2 or 3 times a week, hoping the gifts were coming my way. Poor second-best Audrina, Vera continued, too dumb to even go to school. Nobody here wants the world to know how idiotic you are with your senile memory. She took from the cabinet a huge bottle of bleach, poured a little onto a sponge, and dabbed it at Papa's new pink shirt. The shape of the iron made it unsightly burn right where his coat wouldn't hide it. I went over to see what she was doing. The bleach seemed to be working. Papa stalked into the kitchen, bare-chested, cleanly shaven, his hair styled and ready to go. He paused near the ironing board to stare at Vera, who looked extremely pretty now that she was shaping up and slimming down in her waist. Then he was looking from me to her, then back again. Was he comparing me to her? What did he see that made him look undecided? What the devil are you doing to my shirt, Audrina? He asked, catching his first glimpse of the ironing board. She was pressing it for you, Papa, spoke up Vera, and the silly girl was so busy picking on me she left the iron flat on your new shirt. Oh, my God, he cried, grabbing up the shirt and inspecting it closely. Look what you've done, he roared at me. This shirt is 100% silk. It just cost me $100. He saw the huge bottle of bleach and then groaned again. You burned my shirt, then you pour on bleach? Where was your common sense, girl? Where? Don't get excited, said Vera. I'll repair this shirt for you, and you'll know it won't know it from new. After all, Audrina doesn't know how to do anything. He glared at me, then turned doubtfully to her. How can you repair a shirt that's been eaten by bleach? It's gone, and I plan to wear that to an important meeting. He hurled down his wine-colored tie, looked down at his light gray trousers, and started to leave the kitchen. Papa, I began, I didn't burn your shirt. Don't lie to me, he said with disgust. I saw you at the ironing board, and the bleach bottle wasn't a foot away. Besides, I don't think Vera would give a damn if my shirt was wrinkled. I naturally presumed you would be the one who knows how much I like to be turned out to perfection. I don't know how to press shirts, Papa. As Vera says all the time, I'm too stupid to do anything right. Papa, she's lying, and what's more, I told her to turn on the steam and use a press cloth, but she wouldn't listen. But you know how Audrina is. He seemed ready to flare back when he noticed my look of despair. All right, Vera, that's enough. If you can salvage this shirt, I'll give you $10, he smiled at her crookedly. True to her word, that evening when Papa come home, Vera showed him his pink shirt. It looked brand new. He took it from her hands, turned it over and over to look for patch stitches, and could find none. I don't believe my eyes. He handed Vera $10. Honey, perhaps I've been misjudging you after all. I took it to the silk mender, Papa. It cost me $15, so that means I lost 5 of my savings. He was listening attentively. If there was one kind of person my Papa admired, it was one who knew how to save. Where did you earn the money to save, Vera? I run errands for old people. Help by shopping for their groceries. On Saturdays, I walk all the way to the village and do what I said. Sometimes I babysit, too. My mouth gapped. Sure, once in a while Vera disappeared on Saturdays, but it's hard to picture her walking 15 miles to and from to do anything for people. Now, this shirt cost me $120, but it's better than throwing it away. He didn't even look at me. You surprised me, girl. I haven't always been nice to you. I thought you wouldn't care about my wearing shirt. I even thought you didn't love me. Oh, Papa, I love you from the top of your hair to the tip of your toenails. I hated her, really hated her for calling him Papa, when he was my father, not hers. For some strange reason, he backed away from Vera, glancing down at his shoes as if to check the horny toenails that embarrassed him. Well, it's an overdone compliment, but if it's genuine, I'm pleased and touched. Stunned, I watched him leave the room without once glancing my way. He didn't come in that night to tuck me into bed or kiss my cheek or hear my prayers, and if I dreamed of boys in the woods, I was pretty sure on this night he wouldn't come running to save me. In the morning, it was Vera who poured Papa's coffee, spelling Mama, who seemed wilted and looked very pale. She jumped up to put on 3 slices of toast and stood close to see that it didn't toast too long. He liked it golden on the outside and tender on the inside. Vera fried his bacon to perfection, and I didn't hear one compliment from him. When he finished eating, he thanked her for waiting on him, then got up to leave work. Limping after him, Vera caught hold of his hand. Papa, even though I know you're not my real father, can't we pretend you are? Can't we, Papa? He seemed uncomfortable, as if not knowing what to say, and at the same time touched. Papa belonged to me and Mama, not to Vera. I glanced at my aunt, who sat tight-lipped and grim, and I wished that both she and Vera would leave and go away, far away from here. Soon Papa left. I watched as his car turned off the dirt road that would take him into the expressway and into town, where he'd have lunch with businessmen and call it work. To my surprise, he stopped momentarily at the mailbox on the corner where a private road forked off to the main road. I wondered why he hadn't picked up the mail last night. Had he been so eager to reach Mama and see how she feared that he'd forgotten again to check the mailbox? When I reached our mailbox, I found the mail was still there. In fact, magazines and newspapers were bulging from the door, which couldn't close. It took some time to stack it all in my arms with all that was addressed to Papa. That was just what I needed. I would win Papa back. I knew what he wanted from me. I knew what Papa cared about most, money. I had to use my gift to make Papa money. Then he'd love me best forever. I was trying to read the front page of the Wall Street Journal even before I reached the kitchen to toss the mail on the table. I raced off to find the items I needed. A pencil and notepad and a length of string and a straight pen. In the closet under the back stairs was all the junk we wanted to keep and later throw out. It was there that I found old copies of the journal. I laid out the quote sheets and began to list the most active stocks, thinking 2 weeks would give me enough time span. Even as I worked, I could hear Vera upstairs arguing with my aunt, who wanted her to help with the laundry. Vera wanted to go to the movies. She was meeting a friend. No, yelled my aunt, you're too young to start dating. Vera said something else I couldn't make out. No, 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 I could hear her well. Stop pleading. Once I say no, I mean no. I'm not like others around here who say no and then later change their minds. You let me do as I want, or I'll spill out all our family street secrets in the middle of the main street, shrilled Vera. I'll stand there until everybody knows who my father is and what you did, and the Whiteford name will go even further down on the list of scoundrels. Open your mouth about family secrets and you won't get one dime from me or anyone else. If you behave yourself, there's a chance for you to profit sooner or later. You antagonize Damien and Lucida, you're a thorn in both their sides. But it can pay off for both of us if you just try to behave yourself. I used to rue the day I conceived you. Many a time I wished I'd had an abortion. But when you had Damien's shirt repaired and I saw how impressed he was, I regained my hope. Pleading came into her voice. Audrina doesn't have to be the darling in this family, Vera. Remember, all that happened to her has given her a certain edge. Take advantage of it. You know how he is and what he needs. Admire him, respect him, flatter him, and you'll become his favorite. There was a long silence up there and some whispering I couldn't hear. That all too familiar lead ball came to reside in my chest again. They were plotting against me, and they knew what had happened to me when I didn't. I'd almost believed that my aunt liked me. Now I was hearing that she too was my enemy. I went back to the table to work with more determination to find just the right stock that would go up, up, and up and make Papa very, very rich. I tied my little birthstone ring to the string, figuring I could do the same as Mrs. Osmore and predict which stock would be a winner. Papa was always saying trading stocks was not a science but an art, and what I was doing seemed very creative. I fastened a pin to the ring with a bit of thread to use it for a pointer. Twice it touched down on the same stock. I tried to force it to touch down a third time. 3 of anything was a magic number, but it refused to choose the same stock 3 times, even when I opened my eyes and tried to control the ring. It seemed to have some power of its own, faltering, indecisive, the same as Mama's wedding ring had been confused over her abdomen. Just then I heard a loud howl. "Where are my diamond earrings?" shouted Aunt Elizabeth. "You're the only things my father left me of value, and my mother's own engagement ring. They're gone. Vera, did you steal my jewelry?" "No, perhaps you misplaced them like you do everything else." "It's been years since I wore that ring. You know I keep all my best jewelry locked in a box. Vera, don't lie. You're the only one who ever enters my bedroom. Now, where are those things? Why don't you ask Audrina?" "Her? Don't be ridiculous. That girl would never steal anything. She's got too much conscience." "It's you who doesn't have any." She paused as I began to fold up the newspapers, my stock list put safely away. Now I know what you did to restore Damien's $100 pink shirt. You stole my earrings and ring, hawked them, and bought him a new shirt. Damn you for doing that, Vera. No, you are not going to the movies. Not today or any Saturday until the day you earn enough money to reclaim my jewelry. You stay home. I drifted to the bottom of the stairs to hear better. Then I heard a thump like someone falling. Then Vera come rushing down the stairs with my aunt limping after her. When I catch you, you're going to be locked in your room the remainder of the summer. Vera came flying in her best dress, a new white dress. I stood in her way. Brutally, she shoved me aside and reached the front door before my aunt was down the back stairs. Audrina, you can tell that beast of a woman that I hate her as much as I hate you, your mother, your father, in this house. I'm going to the village, and when I get there, I'm going to sell my body on the streets. I'm going to stand out before Papa's barbershop and yell, "Get your white-fern daughter," and I'll yell it out so loud that the men in the city will hear, and they'll all come running, and I'll be the richest one yet. You tramp, yelled my aunt. You come back here. Don't you dare open that door and leave. But the door was opened and slammed shut before my aunt ran out to the porch. I stood looking out a window, watching Vera disappear around the bend. The village was 15 miles away. The city was 30. Was she going to hitchhike? My aunt came and stood next to me. Please don't tell your father what you overheard here. There are some things better left unsaid. I nodded, feeling sorry for her. Can I help? Stiffly, she shook her head. Don't waken your mother. She needs to rest. I'm going upstairs. You'll have to fix your own breakfast. On Saturdays, Mama liked to sleep late, and that gave my aunt her chance to stay in the little room off the dining room where she kept her television set. She loved to watch old movies and soap operas. They were the only entertainment she had. My appetite had fled with Vera. I didn't doubt in the least that she would do just as she threatened. She'd destroy us all. I sat down and tried not to think of what Arden and his mother would think. My mind was a workshop of miserable thoughts, wondering what made Papa the way he was, lovable and detestable, selfish at giving. He needed someone nearby at all times, especially to watch him shave, and since Mama had to fix breakfast, it was usually me who perched on the rim of the bathtub and listened to all the interesting things that went on at the brokerage office. I asked many questions about the stock market, and what made stocks go up and down. Demand was his answer for high flyers. Disappointment was his explanation for those that went down. Rumors of mergers and takeovers are great for sending stocks soaring, but by the time the general public knows about those things, it's too late to get in. All the banks and big investors have bought and are ready to sell off to the poor, unknowing investors who buys it in the top. When you've got the right connections, you know what's going on. If you don't have those connections, keep your money in the bank. Bit by bit, I gained a great deal of knowledge about the market. It was Papa's way of teaching me, too, about arithmetic. I didn't think of money in cents, but in eighths of points. I knew about triple tops that were sure to slide and double bottoms that should take off. He'd showed me charts and how to read them, despite Mama's ridiculing him about me being too young to understand. Nonsense. A young brain is a quick brain. She understands much more than you do. Oh, yes, in some ways I loved my father very much, for if he couldn't restore my memory, he'd give me hopes for my future. Someday he was going to own his own brokerage firm, and I'd be his manager. With your gifts, we can't miss, was the way he put it. Can't you just see it now, Audrina? DJ Adar and Company. Once again, I went back to the most active list and performed my string and ring trick, and again my pen pointer touched down twice on that same stock. Happiness swelled in my heart. I hadn't left it to Providence. Papa was going to make money when I gave him this dream. And if this stock I'd chosen did go up, as by now I was fully expecting it would, then never again would I have to sit in the first and best Audrina's rocking chair. I'd have her gift, or even better. I knew Papa. It was money Papa wanted, and money he needed, and money was truly the one thing he didn't have enough of. I raced upstairs to dress, sure that soon I'd have my memories back too. Maybe the string and ring trick would work if I swung it over the Bible. I laughed as I sped up by the first Audrina's bedroom and hurried down to the kitchen, still tying my sash. Mama was up and in the kitchen with blue curlers as bad as tin cans in her hair. Audrina, would you mind watching the bacon while I whip the eggs? Dark circles were under her eyes. I tossed and turned all night. This baby is unusually restless. Just as I fell asleep toward dawn, your father's alarm went off, and he was up and talking 10 miles a minute, trying to tell me not to worry about what that old woman said. He thinks I'm depressed, not tired, so he decided that he's going to invite 20 people over tonight to a party. Can you imagine anything more ridiculous? Here I am in my 6th month, so tired I can barely manage to get out of bed, and he thinks I need cheering up by preparing fancy little goodies for his friends. He tells me I'm bored when he's the one who's bored. I wish to God he'd take up golf or tennis or anything that would use up some of his energy and keep him away from home on the weekends. Oh, now I understood perfectly. Somehow that sixth sense Papa possessed had told him that the day I had the gift, that I had to be the real reason he wanted to celebrate. 100 or more times he told me he'd celebrate with a party on the day my gift came to light. So it was true. I did have the gift now, otherwise the ring wouldn't have settled twice on the same stock when 9 others were lifted there. I felt so good I wanted to shout. "Where's Elizabeth and Vera?" asked Mama. I couldn't tell her about the argument and what Vera had threatened to do. Mama's maiden name was her most cherished possession, and if someone had picked Vera up at that very moment, she could be in the village shouting out all of her secrets. To think of Vera was to think of reality, and soon my confidence in my gift began to wane. All my life or so, it had seemed, Papa had dumped all kinds of junk into my head about the supernatural, which he believed, and Mama didn't. I was convinced what he told me was true when I was with him, and convinced it wasn't true the moment he left the house. "Where's Elizabeth?" Mama asked. "She tripped and fell, Mama. Cursed. A house of idiots, determined to make you and me idiots too, Audrina. Audrina, I don't want you to sit in that rocking chair anymore. The only gift your older sister had was an extraordinary amount of love and respect for her father, and that's what he misses. She believed every word he said. Every one of his crackpot notions she took seriously. Think for yourself. Don't let him rule you. Just stay out of the woods. Take that warning very seriously." "But, Mama, Arden Lowe lives in the gardener's cottage in the woods. He's my only friend. I'd want to die if I couldn't see him often." "I know it's lonely for you without friends your own age, but when the baby comes, you'll have a friend. And then you can invite Arden over here, and we'll invite his mother to tea, and we won't let Aunt Mercy Marie sit in on piano." I ran to hug her, feeling so happy I could have burst. "You like him a lot, don't you?" "Yes, Mama. He never tells lies. He never breaks a promise. He isn't so fussy he's afraid to get his hands dirty, like Papa. We talk about real things, not like the things Papa talks about so often. He told me once he read somewhere that a coward dies many deaths. He says that once he was so petrified he acted like a coward, and he can never forgive himself. Mama, he looks so troubled when he says that." Pity filled her beautiful eyes. "Tell Arden that sometimes it's better to run away and live to fight another day, for there is such a thing as odds too great." I wanted to ask what she meant, but she had everything ready now to put on the table, and Papa wasn't home, and my aunt was upstairs, and Vera, Lord only knew where she was and what she was doing at this minute. "Sit at the table, darling, and stop looking worried. I think Arden is a very noble-sounding name, and he's living up to his name as best he can. Just try to love your father as much as his first daughter did, and he'll stop forcing you into the chair. Mama, when he comes home, I'm going to tell him to cancel the party." "You can't do that," she answered dully. "He's driven into town to pick up party food and fresh flowers. As soon as his business meeting is over, he'll be rushing back here. You see, your father never had parties when he was a boy, and now he uses any excuse to make up for that lack. Men say children are hard on you, and I remember that. No matter how old they become, they manage to keep some boy inside them. Always wanting what they wanted then, not realizing that when they were boys, they wanted to be a man instead of a boy. It's strange, isn't it? When I was a girl, I wish we never had parties, for when we did have them, I wasn't invited, and I had to stay upstairs, dying to come down. I'd hide and watch and feel so unwanted. It wasn't until I was 16 that I danced in my own house." "Where did you dance?" "We'd roll up the rugs and dance in the Roman rival room or the back parlor. Other times I'd steal out the window and meet a boyfriend who'd drive me to a dance. My mother would leave the back door unlocked so I could sneak back in, and my father would never know. She'd come into my room when she heard me return and sit on the bed, and I could tell her everything. That's the way it's going to be with us. When you're old enough to go to dances, I'll see that you go." "Did you have lots of boyfriends, Mama?" "Yes, I guess I did. I used to promise myself I wouldn't marry until I was 30. I wanted my musical career more than I wanted a husband and children, and look what I got." "I'm sorry, Mama." Then she was touching my hair lightly. "Darling, I'm sorry. I'm talking too much and making you feel guilty when it wasn't. It was I who made the choice. I fell in love with your father, and love has a way of brushing aside all other considerations. He swept me off my feet." And this is going to take forever, and it's going to take 2 or 3 books. And if he hadn't, I would probably have died of a broken heart anyway. But you be careful not to let love steal what aspirations you have for yourself. Though your father fills your head with silly ideas, in one he's perfectly right. You are special. You're gifted too, even if you don't know what that gift is. Your father's a good man who just doesn't always do the right thing." I stared up into her face, feeling more and more confused. First she said Papa gave me idiotic notions, and then she told me his craziest one about me being special was true. Moments later, Papa was home with his sacks of groceries and florist flowers. "Mama." Vera came struggling in after him. She looked dirty. Her hair was a mess, and she'd been crying. "Mama, Papa pulled me into his car by my hair. Look what he did to my hair. And I just said it last night." "Don't comfort her, Lucky," shouted Papa when he saw my mother's arms go protectively about Vera. He grabbed hold of Vera and shoved her into the kitchen chair. That smart mouth was stumbling along the highway when I saw her. When I stopped and ordered her into the car, she told me she was going to become a whore and shame us all. "Elizabeth, if you don't know how to tame your daughter, then I'll use my own method." I hadn't even noticed my aunt had slipped into the kitchen wearing one of her plaid cotton house dresses that seemed so cheap and ordinary compared to the pretty ones my mother wore. "Vera, go upstairs and stay there until I tell you to come down again," barked Papa, "and no meals until you can apologize to all of us. You should be grateful you have a place at all in this household. I'll go, but I'll never be grateful, and I'll come downstairs when I get good and ready. Papa rushed forward. Mama, don't let him whip her. She'll only do something to hurt herself if he does. My mother sighed and looked more fatigued. Yes, I guess you're right. Damien, let her go. She's been punished enough. Why didn't my aunt speak up to defend her own daughter? Sometimes it seemed like she disliked Vera as much as Papa did. Then I was filled with guilt. At times, I too absolutely hated Vera. The only time I liked her was when I pitied her. Upstairs, Vera was screaming at the top of her lungs. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Don't you dare ever hit me again, Damien. You dare. If you do, I'll tell. You know whom I'll tell, and you'll be sorry. You'll be sorry. In a flash, Papa was out of his chair and flying up the stairs. That stupid Vera kept right on screaming until he threw open the door, and then there was a thud. Next came the loudest and longest howl I'd heard her make yet, and her lifetime had a long list of howls to go with it. My blood chilled, another loud thump, and then total silence. All three of us left the kitchen and stared up at the ceiling. What had Papa done to Vera? A few minutes later, Papa came back to the kitchen. What did you do to Vera? Mama asked sharply. She's only a child, Damien. You don't have to be so harsh with a child. I didn't do a damn thing. I opened the door of her room. She backed off and tripped over a chair. She fell and started howling. She got up and started to run, to hide in the closet where she put that lock on the inside, and darn her, she didn't trip and fall again. I left her on the floor crying. You better go up, Ellie. She may have another broken bone. Disbelievingly, I stared at Papa. If I had fallen, he would have run to help me. He'd have kissed me, held me, said 100 loving things, and he did nothing for Vera but walk away. After breakfast, I'll go up. Another broken bone would spoil my appetite. Mother rose to go upstairs to see to Vera. Don't you dare, ordered Papa. You look tired enough to faint, and I want you well rested and pretty for the party tonight. Shaken again, I got up and started for the stairs. Papa ordered me back, but I continued on, taking the steps three at a time. I'm coming, Vera, I called. Vera wasn't in the room, laying in the floor with a broken bone as I thought she'd be. I ran about, wondering where she would be. Then, to my utter amazement, I heard her singing in the first Audrina's bedroom. Only a playroom, safe in my home, got no tears, no fears, and nowhere else to roam. 'Cause my Papa wants me always to stay home, safe in my playroom, safe in my home. I thought I'd never heard such a pitiful tune, the sad way she sang it, as if she'd sell her soul to the devil to be me, and to be forced to sit in that damn chair I despised. Reluctantly, I returned to the kitchen again. How's Vera, Mom asked. I told her Vera was fine, not broken, though I didn't mention she was using the rocking chair. Didn't I tell you, said Papa. Lucky. As soon as Audrina finishes her brunch, the two of us are taking a stroll down to the river. He stood, and it seemed deliberately tossed his linen napkin so it fell into his half-full cup of coffee. Mama plucked his napkin from the cup and gave him an expressive "you have again proved yourself a slob" stare. But she didn't dare to reprimand him. It wouldn't have done any good. Papa did as he wanted, and always would. He led me by the hand to our back lawn, which gradually descended into the river. Tomorrow's your 9th birthday, darling. Papa, how can tomorrow be my 9th birthday when I'm only 7 today? My sweet, haven't I told you many times that's why we don't send you to school? You are one of those rare individuals who has no sense of time at all. We don't celebrate birthdays in our house because somehow it confuses your own special calendar. 2 years ago, on some day short, you were 7 years old. What he said was impossible. Why hadn't he told me that I was 8 years old and not 7? Was he deliberately trying to make me crazy? I put my hands over my ears to shut out anything else he had to say. My eyelids squeezed tightly together as I raked my brain to remember someone telling me I was 8. I couldn't remember anyone mentioning any age but 7. Audrina, honey, don't look so panicked. Don't try to remember. Just trust what Papa tells you. Tomorrow is your 9th birthday. Papa loves you, Mama loves you, and even shrew-tongued Ellie loves you, if she dared admit it. She can't because Vera is there, and Vera envies you. Vera could love you too if I showed her more affection. I'm going to try, really try to like that girl, just so you won't have any enemy living in the home. I swallowed, feeling a sore throat coming on and tears filling my eyes. Something was weird about my life. No matter how many times Papa told me about my specialness, it wasn't natural to forget an entire year. It just couldn't be natural. I'd ask Arden. But then he'd know something awful was wrong with me and wouldn't want to talk to me either. So it seemed I'd have to believe Papa. I told myself that I was only a child and what difference did it make if I lost just 1 year in the process of growing up. And if time skipped past quicker than I could keep track of, what difference did that really make? Sometimes unconscious fears tried to sneak out, whispering slyly and disturbing me, threatening my tentative acceptance. Inside my brain, colors were flashing, and I felt the rocking motion of my body, to and fro, to and fro. I had been 8 years old. I wore a white dress with ruffles tied around with a violet satin sash. But what did rocking chair dreams mean, except that the first and best Audrina had worn a ruffled white dress to her party? All those visions of birthday parties were her parties. Where would I go to find the truth? Who was there who was totally honest with me? There was no one. Lord, to tell me the truth. It might hurt if they did. Papa drew me down on the grassy slope beside him. The sun was high overhead and burning through my hair as I sat with Papa. Let's talk about what you dreamed last night. Last night I heard you moaning and groaning, and when I went to check on you, you were tossing in your bed, mumbling incoherently in your sleep. Feeling panically, I looked around to see a red-headed woodpecker. Go away, I cried. Eat the worms on the camellia bushes. Audrina, forget about the trees. The trees will be here long after you and I have come and gone. Tell me what you saw in the rocking chair. If Papa believed in Mrs. Alsmore's string and ring trick, it seemed only right that I could use the same game. Turning my head quickly, I glimpsed Vera in the room where the rocking chair was. Still up there, still rocking. Let her rock on and on forever. Okay, darling, I'm not going to plead further. Just tell me what you dreamed last night. Audrina, I didn't ask for a stock tip. No, I did not. I asked you to give me your dreams. I'm trying to help you restore your memory. Don't you realize yet that's why I put you in the rocking chair? I've tried to make it seem your loss of memory is natural, but it isn't. All I wanted for you to do was regain what you've forgotten. I didn't believe him. I knew what he wanted. He wanted me to turn into the first Audrina. That's why he had all those books up about black magic and powers hidden away in his study. Pulling away, I stared back at the house again, terribly upset now. Back and forth, Vera was still rocking. Would she scream? Would Papa go running to save her? Or just suppose everything Papa had told me was true, and there was a gift to be gained. Then any second she would replace me in his heart. There I was, Papa, a grown-up woman, working in a huge place with business machines all around. They glowed and changed colors, talked in strange voices, and sent messages through the air. I was up front instructing a large class on how to use them, so that's why I thought, but of course I should have let you decide what it meant. The letters I told you were on the machines, every last one, Papa. IBM. For a reward, his little smile came tight and thin. All right, you've tried to help me financially, but that's not what I wanted. Memories, Audrina. Fill the holes in your brain with the right memories. We'll try the rocking chair again later and see if next time doesn't skip the woods and put you down in the right place. I was about to cry, for I had had a funny dream about machines. Don't cry, my love. I understand, and I might even put some money on that stock, even though it has a 30% run-up and is due for a sell-off still. It wouldn't hurt to wait for the profit taking to the end, and then buy in heavily before another climb. She's intuitive, and her heart is pure. Jumping to my feet, I ran to escape his embarrassing ruminations. Now he was going to put money on that stock. What if it continued to go down after the profit taken? Poor Mama was slaving in the kitchen, preparing for a stupid party she didn't need to have when she was feeling so rotten. I ran to a window where I could watch Papa still down by the river.